So it's fruit fly season at New Life Farm. In the past and still today, we have a lot of issues with fruit fly, especially in the last sort of 18 months with all the wet weather that we've been having. Fruit fly numbers have exploded on the farm. So in the past, we have used a two-prong approach to managing fruit flies, actually a three-prong approach to managing fruit fly. Primarily, we would pick up and dispose of all damaged fruit, and we wouldn't let any fruit off any fruit trees or our tomatoes or anything in the garden stay on the ground. We would dispose of them, and we would put them in black bins, half full of water, and leave them in the sun until they were full, and that would sterilise and cook any larvae that was in fruit. We'd also use a netting, which is like a veggie style netting with quite a small opening to protect our crops, but it used to have to be pulled. It's got to be pulled down quite tight over the fruit tree or over the tomatoes, just to stop that the fruit flies being able to get access to the fruit. And we would also make a range of different homemade fruit fly traps, and they would be baited with a protein bait. We found the best one was Vegemite, a mixture of Vegemite and brown sugar. A whole jar of Vegemite, about 500 grams to 600 grams of brown sugar mixed in to 10 litres of water. We'd make sure it was warm water to dissolve the brown sugar, and we would go and put about 100 mils in each one of these traps. Here's another trap here. And the idea, the protein bait would attract the fruit flies. They'd go in and couldn't get out, and they would drown. We found through observing this style of trap and that type of baiting, it wasn't overly effective. Probably half the fruit flies would go in and drown, the other half would fly out. They'd have a feed and fly out, which is, it helps because we are trapping some fruit flies, but it's not very effective. Probably okay for your home garden and in your backyard, because every fruit fly that you do trap is one less fruit fly out there to sting your fruit. And a fruit fly can lay hundreds of eggs very quickly and sting a lot of fruit. So they can be quite disastrous in a backyard, and nobody likes biting into a piece of fruit and finding grubs and maggots inside. So this year we've expanded out with a couple of different options. We use a pheromone, a male-based, it's a female pheromone to attract male fruit flies, and they're small. These are a small monitoring trap. They have a wick inside that has a female pheromone, and it also has an insecticide soaked in there. They stay enclosed in the trap, but they only attract and kill male fruit flies. So we use a range of these on the farm just to be able to see when numbers are increasing, but it doesn't do anything to the female numbers of fruit fly on the farm. So the females are the ones that sting the fruit, and in stinging the fruit, that's when they're laying their eggs so that they can breed. So we have about a dozen of these around the farm, which we check weekly, and we can check to see when numbers are increasing. This time of the year, with the warm weather and the high humidity and moisture, the numbers are starting to increase. So you're probably going to start seeing, if you're in the local area, you're going to start seeing a lot of fruit fly activity. We also implement on our property. We have a lot of dense bush and rainforest on both sides. We grow produce and vegetables in a thin strip between two sort of rainforest bands. So we also use exactly the same attractant. These are called mat cups, and we put these, they're a disposable cup with a cardboard wick, which has the same female pheromone to attract males. And they call them mat cups because it's male annihilation technology or technique. And these get put down deeper back into the bush and along the creeks and the rainforest, because that's where the flies actually live. They live down in the rainforest areas, and they just come out into the gardens to look for somewhere to feed, look for protein, but also for somewhere to lay their eggs. They don't live in your garden. So we put about 25 of these out around back further into the bush to manage the numbers so that they don't explode back in the rainforest and in the bush, which they're feeding on lily pillies and native fruiting species or any fruiting citrus that we don't know is there. There's other types of random fruiting crops that are native to the rainforest that they feed on, and they can become host trees, and the fruit fly can explode in numbers. So this is a way of managing them while they're in the bush, in the environment. Yeah, so we put about 25 of these out, and we do that twice a year. It can be done twice to 3 times a year. They recommend in spring, summer, and then autumn. They are disposable, but there's a couple of different types that you can get, but that's just to manage the male fruit flies. So the way with this technique, the way they manage female fruit flies is they use a protein bait spray, which is mixed in a spray, which has a certified organic insecticide mixed in with the protein bait spray. And we don't spray our crops with this. We spray just a 1 meter band of foliage around the perimeter of the farm, which is on trees and small shrubs and areas around the perimeter of the farm to try and minimize the migration and the movement of fruit fly from where they live in the rainforest and in the bush out into where our fruit trees and our crops are grown. So the protein bait spray, a female and a male fruit fly, they need to feed on protein to become sexually active. So before they can lay eggs or before they can breed, they need to feed on protein. So this is a mixture that we spray around the farm, and it's a food source, but that food source is, as I said before, has a certified organic insecticide in it. It's actually a biological control. That it's called Natural Lure. We buy it in bulk, and that helps to control the population of the male and the female flies feeding before they become sexually active. The problem with this is with the wet weather that we're having, you've got to do it every 7 days, and with the wet weather that we've been having, heavy downpours, it does dilute and wash off. So once it washes off, it becomes not active, and you have no protection from female fruit flies. So we found that to be a bit of an issue. So we've moved and we've done some more research, and we've found another product again. These products are from Bugs for Bugs. So you can jump online and have a look at. There's a lot more information and a lot of reading to do if you're having fruit fly problems or you need to know more. But from Bugs for Bugs, we've also found another supplier, Biotrap, and they have come up with a trap and a protein that lasts in all weather conditions. So it's, for us, it's not a standalone, it's to complement what we're already doing. So it's a fruit fly trap with a protein based. This is a gel, which is a clean, non-toxic gel used to attract the fruit fly, male and female, predominantly the female fruit fly. And we put the gel into the bottom of the trap. These are from Biotrap Australia. And the fruit fly, the male and the female, are attracted to this. They fly into the bottom of the trap. So fruit flies are attracted to yellow, and it smells like ripening fruit, I'm guessing. And the fruit fly come here to look for a feed. They go in. In the top is a small insecticide cube, which, unlike our original traps that we used to rely on them flying in and drowning, and half of them used to fly out after having a feed. In this trap, because they have a small insecticide cube, a fumigant cube, they fly in to have a feed, and they actually get gassed and they die, and they stay within the trap. The type of cube, it's a DDVP, so it's a fumigant insecticide cube. and they have been allowed in organic farming and food growing systems, because the insecticide is contained within an enclosed trap. So whether it rains, hails or shine, these traps will continue to attract and kill the male and the female fruit fly. So in conjunction with our male annihilation techniques to kill the male, to attract and kill the male fruit flies and the mat cups deeper into the forest, and the protein bait sprays when it's not raining. We have about 50 of these placed around the farm, which work whether it's raining or not. So that's our trapping and control system. We also, this year, we've also put up an exclusion tunnel. Even though we do all of that, we still have losses on the farm to fruit fly. I think it's a long term, just a system approach. We work every week to check traps and rebait traps. Most of these traps have to be replaced, or new protein bait and new insecticide cubes have to be placed every 3 months because they lose their efficacy. So we still lose produce. So this year we've made an enclosed growing area, a grow tunnel, that we put some of our most sensitive crops in. We've got tomatoes, cucumbers, a range of different chilies, capsicums and eggplants. And so far things are looking good within the tunnel. But it's only a very small growing area that we manage inside the tunnel. We still have a lot of fruit and vegetables outside that we need to try and manage fruit fly across the whole farm. In the tunnel, we do open the doors from about 9 o'clock in the morning, once the sun gets a little bit higher, as fruit flies generally like to go out and look for places to lay their eggs first thing of the morning, just on sunrise. So we open the doors just to allow pollinators to go in, bees and insects to be able to fly in and pollinate some of the things that we've got growing in there. Yeah. And then we close the doors every night. Yeah. Probably just before sunset, around 4 o'clock, we close the doors. That's our fruit fly control practices.